wanted to do a story time slash review of my experience with online therapy. There came a time in my life where I decided that I needed some self-care, as they call it. So unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that the insurance that I get from teaching does not cover any like you know, head issues. So I decided online therapy might be the jam. And I remembered a while back, years ago, I was watching a show called Shark Tank. And there was a woman on there named B. Arthur, like the late great B. Arthur. And she had a business, an online therapy business called Pretty Padded Room. And this was a few years ago, and she didn't even actually get a deal. But I just kind of always remember that in the back of my head because it was the first time that I really heard about online therapy. So I had that in the back of my head. So then I looked it up, and then I saw that she had changed the name to In Your Corner Online, which is probably a way more professional name for the business. So she changed the name to In Your Corner Online. And I saw, you know, what she had to offer. It looked legit. I decided to sign up and do a trial session. A trial session costs about $25 for a half an hour. I think it's a one-time session. I signed up. I decided that I wanted to try to have a black therapist. I've had white therapists mainly. There's nothing wrong with that. I've had Asian therapists. I had a black therapist once when I was like 12, but I barely remember her. I think I went like 3 or 4 times, and then like my dad switched like insurances or something, so then like we switched therapists. But anyways, I wanted to have a black therapist because I wanted to keep the money in the black community a little bit more, and I just wanted to see what a therapist would be like who was of my ilk, so to speak, because there is a certain experience being a black woman in the world, just like there is a certain experience being an Asian woman, or, you know, a man from the Middle East, or a white man, or whatever. So I wanted to, you know, just try something new. And I also wanted a therapist that was a woman. So I looked on, they had a lot of different people. I noticed that it was actually more coaches, which is fine and to be expected, because I figured that the therapists that they did have, or even the coaches, were probably trying to get like practicum hours or something like that. So that would probably be a good thing for them. So I wasn't too pressed about that, but I saw that some people said therapists, and I said I want a therapist, because life coaching, I've had a life coach before. Life coaching is more about future. It's more about, this is where I am now, these are the goals that I want to achieve, versus how therapy is more about, this happened in my past, I need to get over this hump so I can move on and transition to, you know, better things in my life. I noticed that the 2 black women that they had on the site, one said she was a coach and the other one had a therapist. So I chose the therapist woman, and she did say they had their specialties, and she did say her listing was Christian counseling, feeling stuck, something else, self-esteem, and blah 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 blah. I am an atheist, so I paused for like half a second, but then I was like, okay, it's not gonna matter, like, this is gonna be my therapy session, we're gonna talk about what I want to talk about. I've had Jewish therapists before, and it's not like, they're not like, so, Purim. It's not like that. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to choose this black woman, and we're going to talk for half an hour about whatever, and that's going to be what it is. I booked the session, and we had the session. And the first thing old girl asks is, are you a Christian? And I'm like, no. She's like, I think the exact phrase was like, are you a Christian? Like, what's your spiritual path? Like, what keeps you going? And I hate that question. I really do. I hate that question, because I am an atheist. So what keeps me going is me. And for better or worse, that's just what it is. I know somebody's probably going to tap dance on here and tell me about how Jesus will, I don't know, make it all better or something. But there are plenty of Christians that kill themselves every day. Believe that. I done met some. So anyways, I was kind of taken aback by that and a little annoyed, but okay, we moved on, and I told her I was an atheist, and I told her about some of the issues that I was trying to grapple with my past, with the way that I treat people, with the way I allow people to treat me, and things like that. And we had a decent little chat. The connection was bad because I live in China, and because the connection was probably bad on her end, so we had a little bit of issues. So we lost like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, which is fine. So I wasn't expecting to have some type of life-changing experience, because you can't really do very much in a half an hour. But what ended up happening, is that she ended up basically suggesting that I do in-person therapy, because I'm assuming that the issues that I have are probably not conducive to the platform of online and not being, in person. Although she was kind of weird. She was like, "Oh, I would wish I would be able," she was like, "Oh, I wouldn't want you to like start breaking down or whatever, and I can't do anything to be there to comfort you." And I was like, I understand that. I do understand that. But even with my old therapist, like, if I did cry or break down, I mean, the only thing they did was give me some tissue. It wasn't like, therapists don't do a lot of hugging and stuff. Like, no, it's very, the reason you go to a therapist is so you can have some objectiveness with the issues that you are dealing with. But I came away from the situation, and I took what she had to say to heart, and I do think that maybe she is right about needing in-person therapy, but I can't afford in-person therapy, so bump. But the more I thought about it, the more annoyed I actually got and was at the whole situation in general. Like, it was just like, it kind of festered, and it was just like, why in the hell did this chick ask me about my religious beliefs? I will give her the tiniest, uno minuto, un poquito, un choco. I'll give her the tiniest bit of leeway, since she did say Christian counseling. However, I feel like when you come in with a question like, are you a Christian? You're coming in with an agenda. And as a person who is an atheist, I have a lot of Christian family members. My mother's a Christian, my brother's a Christian. He, he does Christian stuff, like go to church and go on Christian retreats, and his youth pastor, and I hear a lot. And I was actually baptized at 8, so I have some frame of reference when I talk about some of these things, even though I am not a believer in the faith. I feel as if sometimes when I pull out the atheist card, they don't know how to handle it. It's like a disconnect where they can't connect with me anymore, because there's a certain, it's almost kind of like how racism is as a person of color. Sometimes there's like this disconnect, as a person of color with a non-person, a white person, or whatever, how sometimes there's this disconnect, because it almost feels like, oh, we don't have anything in common anymore, or whatever, or there's a certain thought process that, as an atheist, I am a heathen. I don't have, since I don't, the reason why I have the issues that I have is because of my lack of faith, or whatever. So I feel like when you start asking questions like, are you a Christian, you're coming in there with an agenda. And I kind of feel as if maybe in the back of my head, part of the reason why she might have pushed me towards in-person therapy is because she didn't really know how to react to that. But maybe not, I don't know. In the end, I am disappointed in my experience, because while I know I wasn't expecting something life-changing from a 30-minute session, it's an intro session. I was not expecting to feel, I feel as if I came out with, I feel as if I wasted time and money, to be quite honest. I feel as if I got nothing out of that besides annoyance. Like, I feel like that the only thing I got was annoyed. And that's it. Like, there was nothing else that I got out of that experience besides being effing annoyed by that question. So, yeah, that was my experience with online therapy. If you want to try some online therapy, you can, go down to that description box. I'll have some links for you. You can get your free trial. Hey, maybe I should actually see if I can get like a little referral bonus or something. Probably not. But yeah, if you want to try it for yourself, you can. I don't think, everything's not for everyone. So just because it wasn't the right experience for me doesn't mean it's not the right thing for you. And I definitely think that, as a person who is an expat and has lived abroad, for several years, that it can be really, really isolating, lonely, confusing, frustrating. So I do think that maybe it might be a good source for people who can't afford it, who are on the go, who are on the move or whatever. So I'm not going to bash them or whatever. You can try it for yourself and see what's what. Alright, well, thank you for watching. Please, as always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Have you had any experience with online therapy? Do you have any suggestions for, keeping it all together up here? Because your girl, I feel like my brain's turning to mush sometimes. But thank you so much for watching, and sai chien.